Welcome back. The first good clap, I'm pretty sure, of me doing this. It's another episode of MCS. And we had to change the name for obvious reasons. But, anyways, I am your host, Zach McAdoo. My little Twitter hashtag? Yeah, Twitter hashtag. My Twitter handle right there. I'm pointing the wrong way again. Next to me is Kevin Capstick, the C in this. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Pretty good. It's a Wednesday. My favorite day of the week. Um, Downhill slide from here, honestly.
What do you mean downhill? We're closer to the weekend. We're also a day later than what we
Exactly.
usually do this on.
I know, and I'm happy about it. Wednesdays are my short days at school, and I get home an hour early, and then next thing you know, tomorrow's Thursday, and the day after that's Friday, and then it's the weekend. What do you mean? It's the perfect day of the week for me.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Well, we had a lot to get into. Well, not really a lot. It's probably a shortened version because we really had no actual football this week. NHL has been on a bit, and the Sabres have been on hiatus for the past week. But we still have NFL coaching hires. We have Lovie Smith going to the Texans. We have um, Dennis Allen going to the Saints. Raiders going with Josh McDaniels.
Worst
And I think
coaching decision.
there's more
You
there. Hold
got
on.
Doug Peterson to the Jags,
Jags.
Dayball to the Giants.
Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins. Um, that might be it.
Got the Bears hire.
Matt Eberflus. Nathaniel Hackett to the Broncos. Mike McDaniel to the Dolphins. Josh McDaniels Raiders. Doug Peterson Jags. Lovie Smith Texans. The Vikings. They are close to a deal. They are expected to hire Kevin O'Connell, but nothing's official yet. Who are you excited to see out of this?
Honestly, I like the Doug Peterson to the Jags. I think he's going to bring over a decent culture. I think that is honestly the best hire out of everybody. I like it the most. I think the Jags have huge amount of potential if they could figure out how to utilize Lawrence down there. Defense needs some work, but I think in this day and age, you need a high power offense, and then if you have such a young stud quarterback, I think you won't have a problem with that. I think he brings much needed culture change, and he won a Super Bowl. So like that is something that not every coach can say they've done. So bringing that down to a young roster in Jacksonville, I think will be good for them and for the city. I like the city of Jacksonville. They deserve more.
Yeah, yeah, you've been. I haven't. I've been through Jacksonville a lot though. The one coaching hire I'm interested in seeing is Nathaniel Hackett. We know why the Broncos wanted him. He wants it. They
Yeah,
want Aaron Rodgers, and if they can get Aaron Rodgers, they have a good chance of getting Devontae Adams, and that team will be stacked if they can get all three of them back together. Because that deep, I was looking at stats earlier because I was doing an article on the Denver Broncos and what they need to do this offseason. Two of the three I just said, with bringing in a quarterback and get Devontae Adams. They have the cap space. They have $38 million to play with. They have the draft capital. They have They have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. And that defense was a top 10 defense last year. They just could not put together an offense. Brandon McMahon is a great kicker. If it's close games, he can shut it down. He can close them out. The Broncos could, if they get a quarterback, and they get a good receiver, like I've been saying, Devontae Adams. Watch out next year. They could win the AFC West.
I don't see that happening. I have a prediction on Rodgers going somewhere else this off season. And even though they got Hackett, I don't believe that that is absolutely guaranteeing Aaron Rodgers following him. I think it betters their chance, but I think Broncos are going to struggle with head coaching like they have the past several years. And when they're not successful bringing Aaron Rodgers, that's the only reason why he was hired, was to bring over Aaron Rodgers. And so when that doesn't happen, they're left off where they've been the last couple of years with a mediocre quarterback with Locke or Bridgewater, or if they go elsewhere. Um, I don't see that happen. I like the idea of it's there, absolutely. Like if you want to go get him, you hire that guy. But is Aaron Rodgers going to want to go do that? That's there's Denver. If he's going to go somewhere, he's not. I don't think he's going to go to Denver. There's other places that I think are more established and ready to win right now than Denver is.
Denver went 7-10. Like I just said, they had a top 10 defense. They were a quarterback away from possibly making the playoffs. And you don't, you honestly
You're right.
don't think they're not. You don't think
You're right.
Rodgers is gonna go there?
But so was Pittsburgh though too.
Yeah, but there was more. They don't have an offensive line. There's a lot more trouble there probably.
Yes, but I think their team is much more capable of winning a Super Bowl next year with Aaron Rodgers than Denver is.
But I don't see Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is going to be too starving in their ways. They're not going to give up the picks. They're not going to give up the player. They're not going to go out and trade for it. And they're going to stay in house. Maybe start Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins for the time being. Maybe draft Kenny Pickett and just have him be a clipboard guy for the year.
Well, they do that and they're wasting all the talent they have on offense and all the talent they have on defense. Just another year postponing what they have currently. They have a roster that could take the push. I don't like the Steelers. I don't like Pittsburgh. But they have what's there to do something successful, and they're quarterback away. If they had someone else other than Big Ben this year, I'm not even saying anyone great. You throw in Cousins, Tannehill, just a mediocre pocket passer. You have a team that could push a Super Bowl chance right there with the defense and the weapons that they have. You have a team that could be very successful. So adding an MVP, two-time back-to-back MVP like Aaron Rodgers is, I think that team turns into a Super Bowl contender absolutely.
Yeah, no question. And I guess we can go more in depth on that later when we don't have other stuff going on. But now it's time to transition a little bit. We have the NFL Pro Bowl. Did you watch any of the NFL Pro Bowl this week?
Or no, I did not waste my time.
Yeah, you were lucky. I watched 5 minutes of it and I was like, "This is absolutely stupid." They played two-hand touch. Literally, I was like, "Why are they blowing the whistle already?" And then I realized they're playing two-hand touch. They're really playing two-hand touch with pads on. How stupid is that?
T-ball is more entertaining than what we just witnessed. The only thing that was good to come out of that was that 1v1 Diggs versus Diggs, and yes, Diggs did win that. I don't care what anyone said. But that was the only good thing. And then seeing McCorkle, Gritty, in the end zone, that was embarrassing for the NFL. It's just horrible. I don't know what they could do to fix it. Something needs to happen. It's just a waste of a weekend. And the only one that hit anyone was Alvin Kamara. And that wasn't even that day. That was off the field, yes. So
which now it is being reported that the NFL knew of it happening before the game.
I heard that, yes.
What do you think is going to happen with Camaro before we get into the NFL side of it?
God, I don't know. It's so hard to say because the NFL's been in the past have been able to lighten the load on things, but since I would say the first one that they weren't able to do much on was Ray Rice was like the first big one that they weren't able to cover up. And as you can see, he hasn't been back in the NFL since then. And so I don't know what will happen with this. I mean, they're talking possible 5 years in jail. I mean, I don't. As NFL, if they want to do right, then they need to step back and just allow them to do what they have to do. And it sucks for Alvin Kamara for being such a good NFL player, but you're still a human and you're still a citizen. You need to follow those laws. And he doesn't just get to not follow laws because he's an NFL player.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to start with you brought up Ray Rice first. Ray Rice also had an awful season before the elevator situation. If you go back, he was highly touted as a good fantasy football running back and just absolutely bombed that year. And I think even the Ravens were looking at a way to get out of his contract. And
Possibly.
Just so happened that happened, and bye-bye. But with Kamara, I don't think he's going to see jail time. I think with him, he's going to skirt it away. Maybe pay the fine. Maybe do community service. He's going to get a suspension from the NFL. There's no doubt about it. He's going to take 6 games from the NFL, and Dennis Allen's not going to have his main component for the Saints offense for the first third of the year. There's no question about it. But I think he's lucky because if you look at the other outcomes, I think you would take 6 games over 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. Well, anyone would.
Yeah.
Anyone in the entire NFL would take that over. You're right, though. He's lucky. He's in the situation that he is, and he's in the position, and he's an NFL player. He's a running back. But like, how much longer are we gonna just allow NFL superstars to get away with things like this, and then just hide behind Roger, and they just take care of it themselves? I mean, it's just if you went out there and did it, you'd be facing years. And what he's going to be doing is facing several weeks suspension with no $1 million pay. But guess what? After that 6th week, there he goes making millions again. Just there's consequences for your actions. I teach kindergartners, and when they steal a toy from someone, guess what? They get timeout. So when you battery and assault someone, guess what? You should get jail time. That's just kind of how that works. And it's just giving those little ones just like, oh, wow, he just beat someone up. And he's just going to get a pat on he's just going to go sit in the corner for 6 weeks instead of, taking responsibilities for your actions.
Yeah. Consequences for thee, but not for me. And it just makes no sense for, like you said, if you and I went out and beat the hell out of someone, we're getting arrested, we're going to jail, but you have all these players, all these people who make millions of dollars, they skirt it. Now, we'll transition here with Roger Goodell. Protect the shield. You're not protecting the shield if he's going out and playing Sunday after he does this on a Saturday and the NFL knows about it. I mean, Roger Goodell has repeatedly said, protect the shield through concussions, through Me Too, through the Commander stuff. The Commander stuff, I mean the Dan Snyder stuff, not the way that they brought Commanders. All this stuff protect the shield, and you're not going to protect it now?
Well, let's look at it for a second. If this was a practice team player, let's say hypothetically this was Antonio Williams, the Bills practice squad player who played 1 game in the past 2 years. If that was him that did that, do you think they would protect him like they are Alvin Kamara? I don't think so. Not at all. So it's who he is, and Alvin Kamara makes the NFL money. And he's protecting, maybe he is protecting the shield, just in a different way. He's protecting the NFL as a whole, making more money that way. But I think that's putting a label on the league that players can do whatever they want. I mean, this is not the first time that's happened. There's other players who playing in the playoffs who should have been in jail because they had ARs in their back seat of their car over the summer in California. Like, he was playing in the conference championship this past year. Like, he should be in jail. It can go back numerous times throughout the league history, and they're just allowed to do whatever they want. It's just like a free pass. Oh, my name's Alvin Kamara. I can do what I want. You want to go see my helmet? It's in my back seat. Okay, yeah, just call Roger. Here's his number. He'll take care of it. It's annoying, and eventually somebody in the NFL is going to be the unlucky one to be the first one. It's just, who is it going to be? Who's going to be the next one?
Yeah, like, this is another thing I just thought of. Like, what the hell is on the water in Vegas? Henry Ruggs goes out and has his DUI. You have, what was the guy? I forgot who the cornerback was now, who went and threatened a fan. Yeah. Nate Hobbs had a DUI the week 7 after his week 17 game, and now Alvin Kamara, all in a span of 4 months. 3 months, actually. I think.
And you're also, like, the head coach of the Raiders, too?
That's old stuff.
Okay, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's still centered around, but still, it's the city, though. I mean, and Vegas as a organization deserves better as well. but that's getting a little off topic. But like the aura that the city has given the NFL this past year is a little crazy, just say the least. The thing that's happened in the city
Yeah,
of
and
Vegas.
it goes back to Al Davis, the former Raiders owner who tragically died. His saying was "just win, baby." So does can you say it's kind of inter? I'm not saying there's nothing going to bad with the Raiders, but is it kind of intertwined where they're inclined to look the other way when your players are doing this? Now I know Kamara's not on the Raiders, but you have
You're,
the other three who are.
I would hope not. I would hope as an organization, like you look at Derek Carr. Derek Carr, after the incident, after the first incident with the organization this year with Henry Ruggs, he's a very religious guy, and he was there with the players, and he talked to Henry the night it happened, and the next day, like he was very much involved. And I think it would be hard to say that they're just there to win and play football. I feel like it's a family there, and when stuff like that happens, it actually does affect everybody in the building.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr took a lot of flack that he didn't deserve for that. Like this is a guy he's known for 2 years. They've been
2 years.
close, and the fact that
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna, why wouldn't he defend? I know it's a very crappy thing what he did, but you're still gonna go to bat for
Yeah,
someone
I
you
mean,
consider your
a
brother.
friend and a family, and someone that a brother. Yes, exactly. I mean, regardless, I don't think Derek Carr thought what Henry Ruggs did was wrong. I mean,
Oh,
clearly what he did was was unspeakable, and there again, consequences for your actions. Here it comes again, but I mean, that's still someone that you grew to know and grew to work with, and your the brother, like you said, for the past 2 years playing on a football team together. Yeah, so I mean, you're gonna have some kind of emotions around that when that happens.
yeah, it was a horrible situation all around. I remember watching and eh, going back and writing, typing, because I did 2 articles on Henry Ruggs, going back and typing the original one, which wasn't like we didn't know the full details of what happened, and then going back and writing the second one and just typing what had happened, it kind of hurt.
It was
Like I know
tragic,
we're
very
kind of
much.
like with what happened. I think it was it Tina Tinter, I think her name was, and her dog just. Oh,
Oh
Jesus.
yeah, he just was sitting there and just watching. It's just a tragic situation. It was everyone in the situation was hurt, and even though Ruggs wasn't physically, I mean mentally, I mean just knowing that you can sit there and just you can't physically do anything, regardless of who you are. I mean that hurts as a person. I'm sure it does.
Yeah. All right. I think it's time to move on. I think we don't want to bring down the mood too much. The NHL All-Star game that was on Saturday. I enjoyed it. I don't. People say they don't like the 3v3 tournament. I think it's fine. I don't. Uh,
If I had a chance to watch 3v3 hockey all the time, I would do it. The energy, it's so high, it's fast paced. I mean, I know the All Star game, it's a little bit slower. But if you watch any overtime hockey, there's strategy that goes into it, and it's fun to watch. It's a different kind of strategy than 5 on 5, and players when you play hockey, the skill gap between an ordinary person and a hockey player is ridiculous. Athletic people go out there and jump and catch a ball and do jukes and do spin moves and stuff like that. But not people can't go out there and do what hockey players do on the ice like that. Um, and it's spectacular to see what they can do and what they come up with. I love the dodgeball shootout. That was amazing. He came out there blindfolded and he went out and just
Zegras.
yeah, it was amazing. One of my favorite movies of all time, Dodgeball. So like seeing him do that is just outstanding, and that's one of the All Star games that I enjoy the most. Like you can't go wrong with seeing people go out there, skills competitions and everything, and it's just entertaining to see the best of the best go out there, and it is the best of the best. Unlike the NFL, when it's not really the best of the best, it's fan voted. It's popularity contest. This is
Yeah.
hockey's fan voted as well. but it
Not
feels
to the
like it's
extent
more
the NFL
balanced.
is.
Exactly. Yes, it's more balanced than the NFL is.
Now, you mentioned the Diggs thing earlier. I don't know why I didn't bring it up then. So, who is the better? We both know that Stephon Diggs is the better Diggs.
Absolutely.
Why Trayvon Diggs is not to where his brother
Mm-mm.
is?
No.
Why? But my question to you is why is Trayvon Diggs getting ranked higher than Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen on these NFL players top 20
It's
lists?
recency bias. It's all what happened just recently. He had the most picks as a defender. He played on a really good defense. It just happened right now. Next year, when he goes out and has an average year, he's not going to be anywhere close to where Diggs and Josh Allen is. I mean, it's just a bias. It's a current bias. It's not going to last.
Yeah,
And that's just how it is.
I saw an NFL post say yesterday. It's like, how is Josh Allen not in any of these lists, and yet Trayvon Diggs is on two of them, and I didn't see Stephon Diggs either. It's just mind boggling to me how these players, and I know they're on the field, but at some point you've got to recognize how good both of them are.
It's hard as a fan of such a small organization that yeah, it's just a small organization. What can happen when there's other organizations that have stars? Like Trayvon Diggs isn't even close to where Stefan is, but you have Stefan and even Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White is easily a top 5 corner in the league, but yet you don't see him anywhere when it comes to QB rankings. That's because he's from Buffalo. If he played in Dallas, then he would easily be a top 3 corner.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about, but it is what it is. I'm glad we have Tre'Davious White. I'm glad we have Stephon Diggs, and I love Josh Allen. And hopefully he stays a Bill his whole career. Now we're gonna get to the portion that you probably don't know a lot about. It's my time a little bit with the Clash at the Coliseum. Did you happen to watch it, or did you just skip over it?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch any of this weekend.
Oh, good job, Kevin.
I watched the highlights, but I was content. I'm interested in it though. I'm very interested in the NASCAR. I want to know how well it went.
So yeah, the Clash actually, I I was kind of on the fence about how they do this because you're racing at a football stadium, like the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It's known for hosting Olympics, hosting the Los Angeles Rams and Raiders. My question was, how are you going to do this? How is it like a track and fit in there? They actually did pretty well. I did like the track. I think the photos and videos of it were very well done. Looked nice. I sat and watched practice. And I was like, okay, a little bit slower than what people may have hoped. But I'm still here for it. What the hell are you doing?
Oh, sorry.
God damn it, Kevin. But um, then they went head qualifying. I was surprised Tyler Reddick qualified second. That was probably the biggest surprise. And then during the heat races, Kevin Harvick didn't do so good. He had to go do his last. He had to go through the last chance qualifier to get in. My bet in Alex Bowman getting a top 5. He didn't even make the race, so that one blew. And then I thought Kyle Busch. He looked so dominant in his heat race. Like, okay, he's gonna go on and win. And then, sure enough, Joey Logano gets him, and Kyle Busch couldn't come back. And Logano gets the win at the Clash for another Coliseum win.
So 2 questions that I have. So as a avid NASCAR fan, was this still enjoyable for you to watch?
Yeah.
Okay, so now take a step back, and if you're new to NASCAR, would this interest you as a new NASCAR fan rather than any other race? Because this is the point of this, was to introduce this to new NASCAR fans. Was this experience for new NASCAR fans any different than what an ordinary race would be?
Yes. Different, yes. because you had a pre-race concert by Pitbull. I can count probably one other time that Pitbull was actually at a race. Well, probably not at the racetrack, but actually performing at a racetrack before a race. They had Ice Cube during halftime, which only happens for the Clash at the Coliseum. As far as trying to the best race to get fans to come over, no, I believe that it should be and always should be the Daytona 500 because it's the biggest race of the year. Number one, number two, you have the high speeds going about 200 miles an hour. Three, you have the big wrecks that's what kind of gets people into it is I like seeing the big wrecks and whatnot. And four, the Daytona 500 is kind of marketed the most. Like you see
it's
the most commercials
well-known
for
race.
Yes, so anyone who's might be new to NASCAR, like, oh yeah, well that's when it's on. Okay, we'll do that. I didn't see a lot of that for the Clash. NASCAR said 70% of the ticket sales for the Clash were for new fans. Could be true. I don't know what it ended up being because this was released probably Wednesday or Thursday before the race. And as far as TV numbers, which they did over 4 million fans, which that was 3 million more than last year. I'm putting an asterisk on it only because last year's race was on FS1 compared to this year's which was on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who knows cable knows Fox is going to pull more people because it's what do they call a broadcast channel instead of being a cable channel. And what FS1 is, FS1 is not as many homes is what I'm trying to say. But
yeah.
I mean, I think as far as the Clash went, I think it was a success in trying to get new fans.
Okay. Then yeah, if that's what they went out to do, and I'm happy to see that they're trying something. As we mentioned that last week, they're trying something, and again, and so your argument was you think it should just be a Daytona 500 thing. So we mentioned last week.
No, I said it was good to try to get the new fans, but the new fans, the thing to try to attract the new fans should always be the Daytona 500.
Okay, so should you think that's the same thing for the Super Bowl then as well? So we talked about Nickelodeon doing the Splash Zone. Is that something that the NFL should do for the Super Bowl, or is that just too monumental and it's the bowl?
I think that's a tough question. I honestly I don't know. I believe that the NFL, the Super Bowl can be used to attract new fans, but the NFL needs to do whatever they can to keep the fans, and I'm sure with us, we're gonna have kids maybe, and it's just gonna keep going down the line. NASCAR, their fans are typically older fans. The older fans, coming from a certain area. Surprisingly, we're not in that area. Yeah, I'm still a fan, but NASCAR absolutely needs to get to attract these new fans because the older ones are dying out. Because NASCAR used to be sponsored by Winston, and for those of you who don't know, Winston was a cigarette company. Now, when you're sponsored by a cigarette company, what do you think that makes your fans want to do? Exactly. So, when you have all these fans who are smokers dying out from various things, which no, I'm not trying to say that I hate smoking, but it's you do you. It's free country or whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as that, you're gonna die out quicker than non-smokers. So you need to attract the new fans.
Effect.
Yeah, cause effect. So you're gonna want to attract the new fans, and that's why NASCAR, you started the Daytona 500, and they go, oh man, this is awesome, or whatever. Super Bowl, it kind of does the opposite effect because Vince McMahon said your interest peaks when because your Super Bowl is right there, then there's no football.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he thought the XFL would work. Which is second iteration.
I think on paper it would have the first time if it was run as a better organization. But that's getting completely off topic.
No, if you watch This Is the XFL, I mean, they absolutely pooped the bed saying, oh yeah, we're going to do this in 1 year. You cannot put together a sports league in a year. They failed at that. and that's why I'm ready to see the USFL. I want to know. I'm excited for the draft is this month or next month, I believe, because they start in April.
Okay.
Okay. Anything? We'll worry about NASCAR stuff next week for the 500 because there's no race this week. Another thing I forgot to put in the rundown. Have you watched any Olympics hockey? I don't think so because you have had to watch kids.
So Olympic, no. I am really excited to watch the Canadian game tomorrow. Um, I know I'm a U.S., but you sent me a video this morning, and I was like, yeah, I'm basically Canadian. Hockey, eh? Just so
I said it to
really
you. I said it
excited.
to my whole.
Okay, well,
You
whatever.
responded
I
as me
took it
being
personally.
Canadian.
I took it personally because I do feel like I'm basically Canadian. Um, but I'm excited to watch the men's Canadian team because the again I'm turning around on the Sabres, but they have 3 or 4 prospects on that team, and it just that excites me. So tomorrow morning, I think 8 a.m. I think it's going on. I don't know how I'm gonna watch it during the day, but I'm gonna figure out a way. In some classroom, in some public school, I'm gonna have watching Olympic hockey. Um, but I'm excited to watch it. I turned down the women's hockey over the weekend. I watched it a little bit Sunday morning. I watched, but they went up early, and I was just like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. So I turned it off shortly after the first goal. But I watched the curling. Curling was entertaining, even though U.S. wasn't able to make it in that either. But I'm excited for the snowboarding. I think that's happening or happened
No, I think it's
today.
tonight. Tonight at 8.
Tonight. Okay, so yeah. So tonight I'm excited for that. For only one man only. But but I'm excited. Olympics are here. The Winter Olympics doesn't get as much popularity as the summer does, but I like the sports in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, I've watched most of it. I should say every minute, but I've watched every game except for one period against Canada because Canada game didn't start till 11:10, and it was already 1 o'clock by the time the third period started. I was like, okay, I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm staying up for this, especially when the United States is down 4-2. I mean, I was happy that my over hit, but besides that, I wasn't happy because the United States lost. And to Canada, that's even worse because now we have to hear about them until hopefully gold medal match. Knock on wood. But hopefully hopefully the United States sees them again, and Hillary Knight, Kevin Coyne-Schofield, and Matt and Rudy do their thing.
Yeah, I want U.S. to win, but I want to see the prospects in all countries, in all teams do well. I mean, you're looking at a future of a hockey, and then even for the women's too. Women's hockey, I think, is growing in the U.S., and it's exciting to see the success that the women's U.S. team has, and how powerful and how complete their team is. Honestly, I was really surprised on Sunday watching the game how complete and well-rounded the team was, and no disrespect to the Sabres, but I honestly think that the U.S. women's team could take them
Ooh,
easily.
tough words. I'm coming from a Sabres fan, but
Oh, very much so.
uh, I, I mean, it's just weird to see how top-heavy the women's game is compared to the men's. Because
Mm-hmm.
I thought Russia would, because the United States, Canada, and Russia are the top 3 when it comes to men's hockey. Women's hockey, the United States absolutely blew out Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what
Yeah.
surprised me is seeing 5-0 in that game. It's really, do the Russian women not it's surprising to me. I do want to see the men's game tomorrow. They played 8-10 against China. They are a 2.5 goal favorite on most of the sports books from what I looked at. I'm worried that they might not cover. It is China, yes, but
It's the first game that they're playing together. I mean, there's a possibility that they're not gelling. That's a decent word. I understand.
yeah. So you keep my problem here. But as far as the rest of the Olympics, I was not happy seeing Eileen Gu win gold, but that's for we'll talk about that off air. Michaela Schifrin has not finished a single run. I believe. I think they said DNF on both of them last night on NBC. The United States didn't get a gold until yesterday. This is embarrassing for a country that is usually top when it comes to medals. And they're tied for 6th, I believe, at the start of today. I mean, it's just...
Well, you have to also think as I think the U.S. Olympic team is slowly converging from a very experienced team to a very young, inexperienced team, and I think that is where the lack of medals is coming through. So I mean, I think in a few years, a few Olympics, maybe the next Olympics, you'll see the spike go back up. I mean, it's still not over yet. You still have several competitions that haven't even started yet. So I mean, it is a possibility. I think we're promised at least one with snowboarding, at least a placement. I hope. I hope. So I mean, that's at least one. I mean, then you have hockey, which is almost promised. I'm hoping another medal.
Promised,
so I mean,
they haven't medaled the last 2 Olympics.
So I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, it's very much still a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, just they have to turn around at some point. And speaking of turnarounds, the Cincinnati Bengals last year, not that good. Here they are, on the doorstep of the Lombardi Trophy, going up against the Los Angeles Rams. Who do you have? And let's get some prop bets here.
All right, so I still think they should have drafted Sewell. I don't know. Just joking. That's a joke. That's a joke. I've been going back and forth on this. Like I've said in the past, I had the Rams and the Bills in the Super Bowl. Rams made it. I both want and think the Rams are going to win this game. I think, and I even hate to say this even more so, I think the reason why they win, I think OBJ is an X factor in this game. And I think he's going to do enough to win them that game. And I might go as far as betting OBJ as MVP of this game. Coming up down in the stretch here. I want the Rams to win for Matthew Stafford. He's got absolutely hated on, disrespected on throughout his career in Detroit, and he deserves a win, and he deserves a ring. I think he's one of the few people in the NFL that absolutely deserves a ring. And now I'm here alone. This is just me. So I'll just continue here. OBJ deserves what as much as he can get to. He's a great player in this league. He has oodles of potential, and he has the star factor that every single NFL team wants in their receivers. I still do not like Jalen Ramsey. I will never like that guy after what he said about Josh Allen about being trash, and then had nothing to say positively about Josh Allen after he beat them in Buffalo. Aaron Donald, again, one of the best defensive players ever, and he's still young in this league. He still has years of playing and time ahead of him. He's good. It stinks that Robert Woods is injured. Robert Woods is a former Bills player. I was upset on when he had to leave